Hello and welcome to the viewers of this video. This is the Orange Fan here, bringing you another entry for the episode Recap and Thoughts category. This video will be dedicated to the B segment of episode 19 of The Loud House, Come Sail Away. We begin this segment with Lincoln admitting to the audience that he and his 10 sisters can get very competitive with each other. We then see some examples of these competitions, such as who can get to sleep first, who can carry the most grocery bags into the house first, or who can make the largest burp. This time around, they're going to compete over who makes the most profit at the garage sale that they're holding. Lynn Sr. is going to be making dinner, and Rita is going to be refurbishing the dining room table. So it's up to the siblings themselves to actually sell items at the garage sale. Before it starts, though, Lily begins to cry, and Lincoln easily figures out that she misses her blanket, so he makes sure to find the blanket and give it to her. As for the garage sale itself, Lincoln tries his best to make the sales try to make as many sales as he can. He even asks Clyde for help, where Clyde acts like an interested customer to try and persuade potential customers to want something before Clyde wants it, if you get what I mean. But the Loud sisters are no slouches either when it comes to this. One of the people at the garage sale actually is Flip, and he actually is interested in buying something from Lucy, her cheapest item, when she offers a free fortune telling for a purchase. She tells him that business will be booming for him. He's also interested in what Lisa is selling because she offers a buy one, get one free sale. Her case, it's old or expired chemicals. And Lincoln's worried that he's falling behind, and he's surprised that even Lily's no slouch at selling items at the garage sale. So he ends up deciding to try and sell items that aren't actually for sale. Like the refrigerator, a coffee maker, the TV, that sort of thing. And when the sisters catch him doing this, they just decide to do the same thing. So all the siblings are taking stuff from in the house that aren't actually supposed to be sold, and they managed to do this without Lynn Sr. or Rita catching on. And by the time that the sale's all done, it seems like Lincoln was the one who made the most profit, but that quickly gets put on hold when Lily starts to cry because she doesn't have her blanket with her. And the siblings fear that they might have accidentally sold Lily's blanket during all the commotion. Lincoln offers to go and find the blanket to make Lily feel better, but it turns into a competition now where everyone wants to find Lily's blanket and be the hero. So we got another competition on hand, and even Lily kind of has a really expression on her face. So for the next part of the segment, we see the siblings running around Royal Woods trying to find all the people who are at the garage sale and see if they have the blanket with them. Eventually, Lincoln arrives at Flip's Food and Fuel, and it looks like Flip is using the blanket as for washing cars, like a rag to wash cars or to dry cars. And he tries to get it back from Flip. Flip seems like he's unwilling to part with it at first, but then he says that he may be willing to, but it will cost Lincoln. And eventually, Lincoln makes it back to the Loud House where he's about to offer Lily her blanket. But then the rest of the sisters come in, and they all have what looks like Lily's blanket too. And they soon all find out they all apparently got the blanket from Flip after selling him all their profits from the garage sale. Except Lenny, she got a welcome mat instead of what seems to be a blanket. So they soon find out that Flip got the better of them, or Flip tricked them into giving their profits to him for what really wasn't the blanket. As for what really happened to Lily's blanket, it was actually in the dryer, apparently. That was one of the things that the siblings didn't sell at the garage sale. And Rita takes it out of the dryer and gives it to Lily, who's happy again. But then she sees a lot of their furniture already sold off, and the siblings admit that they got too carried away with their competition, and Rita just says they're all grounded because of that, and off she goes. The siblings say that they've learned their lesson, but then they start to compete over who would have had the best victory dance if all the commotion that happened didn't happen. And then we find out even Lynn Sr. and Rita want to get in on the victory dance competition, where Lincoln admits that it's not hard to see where it came from. But that's not where the segment ends, not just yet. We actually back at Flip's Food and Fuel, where Flip is planning to use the expired chemicals he got from Lisa. He's planning to sell them as windshield wipers. But then a large explosion happens because they're expired chemicals, and Flip comments that the fortune-telling girl, Lucy, was right about business booming, just not in the way that you'd expect when you hear that phrase. And that's where the segment ends. Now, for my thoughts about this segment, I actually liked it. I thought it was a fun segment. Maybe not one of my top favorites, but I don't dislike it or despise it or anything like that. I still thought it was higher up. Maybe not one of my top 10 or top 5, nothing like that, but I still consider it one of the better segments. And that's because it was a case where we kind of saw all the Loud siblings sort of being in the same boat. They were all being competitive over this garage sale. And to be fair, yeah, competition among siblings can happen. And even among smaller number of siblings it can happen. I can attest to that. And it was also nice, similar to Chore and Peace, we did see how the older Loud siblings were all able to put their differences aside for Lily. Because in that case, they thought Lily was missing. Whereas in this segment, they thought they accidentally sold Lily's blanket. So they were able to put their differences aside and try to find it. Granted, that turned into a competition too, so some people think that might have muddled it up a bit, but I mean, I guess you could say, yeah, it was kind of humorous, but also heartwarming at the same time, sort of thing, that they wanted to help Lily, but they turned it into a competition too. And as it turned out, though, Lily's blanket was actually not sold, and many would say that was actually a pretty fitting end, or a fitting comeuppance for the siblings, because yeah, they went and sold items that they weren't supposed to sell, and the profits they made from it they lost the profits to Flip when he tricked them, and they got grounded for it. So people would say that was a pretty reasonable punishment for them, and even Flip himself didn't really get off with a slap on the wrist, or he didn't get away with his tricking either, because of the explosions that happened, because he bought the faulty chemicals from Lisa, and Lucy's words about business booming was an exact word situation. So yeah, I guess you could say, like, everyone who kind of did something wrong in it sort of paid for their actions. So yeah, that was a pretty nice touch, especially because there can be some segments where some characters in the wrong get away with a slap on the wrist, but that didn't really seem to be the case here. And it was pretty funny how Lynn Sr. and Rita got in on the victory dance competition too. I thought that was a nice way of having a not so different moment between the family members. So if you couldn't already tell, I definitely favor the B segment over the A segment when it comes to episode 19. I thought this was a pretty good one. It may not be necessarily one of my favorites, but I still consider it one of the better segments from season 1. And with that said, we've now discussed both segments of episode 19 on this channel. Take care, and until next time.